Hi, this is Habiba, and thank you so much for watching. Welcome to another segment of Viva's Canadian Journey. If this is your first time of joining in, please don't forget to subscribe. It's very easy to do. Just hit the subscribe button and don't forget to press the bell icon. Today, I'm going to be talking about reasons why people sometimes regret their decision to migrate to Canada, and sometimes they actually return to their home country. Okay, so let's get started. So this segment is backed by popular demand. Quite a couple of people in the past have contacted me and said things like, Habiba, you're always talking about Canada from a very positive point of view. You're always making it seem like everything here is just so sweet and so nice. In fact, one particular man said, be realistic now, tell us about the negatives and about the hard things here. Towards the end of last year, somebody sent me an email and said that I should talk about maybe some things that have actually made me want to pack my bags and return to my home country. So I told him, I said, I just came not too long ago. I haven't packed my bags yet. I don't think I'm going to be packing my bags anytime soon, but I will definitely work on such a video. So for this particular video, what I did was a lot of research went into this. I wanted to look at this topic from a very holistic approach. I didn't want it to just be my opinion. So what I did was I talked to quite a couple of immigrants here in Canada, married people, single people, people with children, people with no children, and not just Africans or Nigerians, immigrants from Southeast Asia, from Europe, because I really, really wanted a very robust video, so I wanted to get their point of view, and so that's what I did. And I really hope that you enjoyed this video and that you learn a few things from this before you leave your home country to migrate to Canada. So the first thing, that came up when I spoke to people that have actually returned home or have thought about it, or have kind of regretted their decision to migrate. The number one reason most people came up with was the fact that they migrate to Canada and they do not get their dream jobs. Okay, so not that they don't get a job. Some people actually said yes, they've been here 6-9 months, they haven't gotten a job, but the majority of response was they don't get their dream job, or they don't get the job they feel they're worth, or the job, kind of the same equivalent of the job they had back home. I actually spoke to someone, a friend of mine put me in touch with someone who had relocated back to his home country, and he says, Habiba, I was here for over 2 years and I didn't get the same kind of job that I had back in my home country, and it was frustrating. He said he was very, very dissatisfied because back in his home country he had actually kind of climbed the ladder and was doing really well. And then he comes here and he knew that he was going to have to start from the bottom up. But he said after 2 years, when that didn't happen, that he got jobs, but not equivalent of, what he had back home. Career-wise, professional-wise, he became dissatisfied, and he knew that if he went back home, he would probably have his old job back. So he left. And so I asked him, I said, maybe you should have stayed a bit longer, maybe you should have been a bit more patient. And he says, listen, I'm in my mid-40s, going to late 40s, I don't have time. So for him, he was dissatisfied. He didn't think, he thought in 2 years he should have gotten, that extraordinary job. He didn't, so he left. And when I was speaking to people, you can't really fault people that kind of think like that. I was talking to a former colleague in Nigeria, and she was joking. She said, Habiba, if you had stayed in Nigeria, maybe in 3 or 4 years, you would have been director of communications. I laughed and I said, who knows, maybe. Because in Nigeria, yes, I started working my way up the top. I started from the bottom. Our communications assistant, communications officer, communications specialist, and then she's like, maybe you would have been communications director. And I said, maybe, who knows? I still believe if I want to continue in that route, by God's grace, I can achieve that here. It might take some time, but yeah, why not? But this is one of the main reasons, that people actually leave. When I was working in the bank, one of my colleagues was a dude from Southeast Asia. And during our training, I noticed that, he knew a lot of the banking terminology. So one day I called him aside and I said, I know you're from the finance industry, but have you done this before? Because you seem really, you seem to know your onions. And he says, Habiba, back home, I was VP in one of the banks in his home country. He said over 40 people reported to him. And I was like, what? I had this really surprised expression on my face. And he could see that I was, surprised. And he says, Habiba, I know the question, that you want to ask next. You want to find out, why I left all that, VP position to come here to start from the bottom again. And he explained his reasons. And he says for him, he knows where he's going. He says he knows he's in a society that works. He says he can already see the light at the end of the tunnel. He doesn't know how long it's going to take him to go through that tunnel, but he can already see the light. He has a goal, he has a plan, and he knows he's going to get there. It might take him a couple of years, but he's willing and he's ready. And I was very, very impressed with what he said. I felt encouraged. This is one conversation I'll never forget. A couple of weeks ago, I left the bank quite a while ago. A couple of weeks ago, I was, catching up with another colleague from the bank, and I asked him about this dude from Southeast Asia, how he was doing. And this former colleague told me, he said, listen, this guy is doing really well. He's now in a different department and he's making waves. And I was not surprised, because the guy, when we spoke last year, he had a very, very positive outlook. So people are different. So people, when that dream doesn't come, that dream job does not come, they might feel dissatisfied. They might go home. They might return home, or they might have regrets. I cannot blame anybody or fault anybody. As the saying goes, is the person that wears the shoe that knows where the pain is. So anybody that feels dissatisfied and returns or wants to return home, you can't really fault them. But this is something that you should please have at the back of your mind. You might be coming home, you might be coming, migrating, maybe back in your home country, you're a CEO or a VP or held a very prestigious department position. You're coming here, I've said this before, please have that mindset. You're not coming as an expatriate, you're coming as a migrant, and you might need to work yourself. You might need to, climb up the ladder again. At the end of the day, it's really going to be up to you if you want to stay or return, but please have that at the back of your mind. Number 2 reason, and this one I found it very, very funny, but it's true, but it's funny. Why people return home. So I was talking to a lady and she was like, Habiba, you don't know how many times I have sat in front of my laptop, tempted to buy tickets to go back to my home country. And I asked her why. She said, because here in this Canada, you cannot live the big girl life or the madam life or the chairman lifestyle. And I just burst into laughter because I knew what she was talking about. She gave me a scenario of her situation back in Nigeria. She's married. She has 3 children. She said back home she had 2 nannies. I think she said a driver or 2 drivers. She says, for instance, Monday morning she wakes up, her husband gets up, they're getting ready for work. She says one of the nannies has gone upstairs to wake the children up, to start getting them ready for school, make sure their uniform is ironed, their shoes are polished, they're looking all prim and proper. The second nanny is downstairs in the kitchen preparing breakfast for everybody to eat, also preparing lunch and snacks and sandwiches for the children to take to school, the parents to take to work. So by the time everybody comes down, breakfast is ready, they have their family time. By the time they get out the door, the cars are waiting with the driver, to take the kids to school, take the parents to work. So that was the kind of life, she was used to back home. And then she comes here, she says, where does she even want to start if she wants to get a nanny? She says, on average, a childminder or a nanny are going to pay $20 an hour. She said, how much is she earning that she wants to pay someone $20 an hour? Let's even calculate that in Naira using an exchange rate of 300 Naira. That is 6,000 Nigerian Naira per hour to pay a nanny. it really doesn't make sense, except you're really, really desperate. So she's like, sometimes she thinks about this, big girl lifestyle, chairman lifestyle, and she's like, oh gosh, maybe she should just buy her ticket and go back home. So I said, the way I like to look at it is that when you're coming here, you're gonna have to take on the DIY lifestyle, do it yourself lifestyle. And it might be a bit challenging at first, especially if you're used to, things differently back home, but that's just the lifestyle here. I remember when my husband and I, when we first relocated, the first week we came here, we went to IKEA. IKEA is a store that sells furniture, and we were in their showroom. So we had seen, furniture that was, set out for the living room, and we liked it, and we said, okay, we're gonna get this. By the time we went downstairs to pay, and we saw the packaging, I was surprised. So there's it was put in a box and it wasn't assembled, and I was like, what kind of something is this? And I asked the lady at the till, is there going to be someone to come with us home to assemble and fix it? She said, no, you can do it yourself. The manual is there, it's really easy, all the parts are there. You might probably need to get a toolbox, but you can do it yourself. It'll probably take a couple of hours, but it's doable. She does all the furniture in her house. She did it herself. And I was like, what? In my mind, I'm like, this is not how we buy furniture back home. I go to Abuja, you go to Alibert, you see the furniture, they put it on the truck for you, they bring it home, and I'm like, who is going to sit down and do all this? So these things, if you want to here, you definitely get somebody to do it, but you're going to have to pay. That's why in Canada, jobs like plumbing, painting, cabinet making are actually seen as technical or skilled jobs. You would really pay. It's not like back home where you just pay 100, 200 naira. No, this one you're gonna pay real money. So we went home and my husband fixed it. It took a couple of hours. He had to get a toolbox, but he fixed it. All the furniture in the house, the beds, everything. In fact, I was making fun of him a while ago that he needs to update his resume and include furniture assembler, barber, painter, plumber, all those things. Because here, you come here, and honestly, except you're going to pay $45 an hour for a plumber to come and fix something little, you will actually get into the DIY lifestyle, So, but this is one of the reasons why people actually relocate back to their home country. In fact, this lady I was talking to was telling me how her husband has actually gone back because he couldn't stand, he couldn't live with it. But she's here with her children. She wants to give her children a better lifestyle, so she stayed here. But her husband couldn't take it anymore, so he went back. So again, something to have at the back of your mind. When you come here, you're going to become very, very you're going to become a handy person, like a handyman, but everybody here does it. Okay, number 3 reason why that I found out why a lot of people sometimes regret migrating to Canada, and sometimes wish or want to relocate back to their home country, is that quite a number of people come with a disillusioned mindset. People come with a mindset that Canada is the promised land. They come here, they're going to be walking on roses, everything is going to be all la-di-da-da. You're coming to a land with milk and honey. Yes, the system works, it's a good country, it's calling migrants right now, but you're going to have to work hard. There was a lady I was talking to, and she said this happened to her. She said back in her home country, she wanted to escape a lot of things. She said she had the bust from health. She wanted to just escape a lot of things. So once her visa came, she was just so excited, quickly went online, booked a ticket. When someone asked her where she was going, she said she's going to Toronto. That she's a big city girl. She's going to Toronto. And the person asked her, have you found a place to stay? Have you done your research? She said, no, she's just going, because what was in her mind was, I am going to the promised land. I am going to this land, this fairy tale Disney kind of, Disney World, kind of lifestyle. And she says, Habiba, I didn't do any research. She had a friend in Toronto, so the friend said she could stay with her for a couple of weeks. She said she got to Toronto after 2 weeks, maybe a disagreement with the friend tells her to leave. She finds herself house hunting. So by the time she found out the price of rent, that really humbled her. She found herself in a basement apartment, winter, in the middle of winter. She said the cold was blowing from everywhere. She started to job hunt. In fact, she said when she started job hunting, she said she's not taking any house job. She started, after like 3 months with no offers, she had to humble herself again. And so she said she came with that fairy tale mentality. She didn't prepare. And because of that, she said the first year for her was very, very miserable. In fact, she told me, said, please tell your viewers, tell your subscribers to please, do their research, to plan and to prepare before they come, so that they also don't have that, milk and honey, promised land kind of mentality. So that's another reason. Sometimes when you're not prepared for something, you just think you're coming here to just come and eat fruits and poutine and all that. You're in for a big surprise. So these are some of the reasons why people actually sometimes regret their decision, and in some cases people actually return home. Okay, so I hope this has been very, very useful. For me, the take home for here is to prepare. I like to be how do they call it, a glass half full kind of person. Yes, you should be positive. I tell people hope for the best but prepare for the worst. Ask yourself this question: what happens if you come to Canada and in 3 to 6 months you have not gotten a job? Save as much as you can. The proof of funds are very important. What happens if you come to Canada and after 2 years you haven't gotten your dream job? Okay, so ask yourself all these questions and then do your research. There's a lot of information online. If you decide you want to go to a province, do your research. And also, you need to tune into Biba's Canadian Journey, because I do provide a lot of useful information about life for newbies in Canada. I hope you found this really helpful, and until next time, do take care. Hi, my name is Habiba.